100 push-ups for 100 days. You think you're gonna build muscle doing that? In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to do this challenge. Roll it. Yo, what's a crack? Your personal trainer T-Togs, changing people's lives for the better through strength and fitness. So push-up challenges are one of the most recurring stories you see here on YouTube when it comes to body transformations. But let's face the reality of social media these days. In most cases, the results of these amazing transformations can be easily faked through good lighting and getting a pump. But if you want to learn useful knowledge to actually get stronger and bigger with your training over time, these kind of challenges kind of suck sometimes. But if you manage to cut through the noise, the BS, and the magic formulas that are so pervasive in the fitness world, you'll eventually find people who regularly refer to the old boring principles you've heard so many times in the past. And this is what I'll be doing in this video, because I believe that this is exactly the message that 99% of beginners need to be reminded of constantly. And for that, I have to bring up the most important concept you'll ever have to learn in this fitness thingy: progressive overload. To make a long story short, progressive overload is simply the gradual increase in stress you subject your body to in order to produce an adaptive response. So unless you expose your body to an ever-increasing stress level through higher loads or more work, your body has no incentive to get bigger and stronger. The last thing your body would ever want to do is to build additional muscle, because this is a very costly and expensive process. You need to force your body to want to create more muscle mass. And in the process of doing so, you will have to take your body and mind to very dark and uncomfortable places, motherfucker.
Duck eggs.
The progressive part in this concept is crucial here. And let's face it, in most of these goofy challenges, there is no damn progression to be found. 100 push-ups a day for 100 days, or 100 squats for 100 days. In fact, the only way that I could take this type of content seriously is if the creator factors in progression. I progressed 100 push-ups for 100 days. That would be okay for me. In sum, if you really want to make these type of challenges work for you, you're gonna have to implement some sort of progression somewhere to make things harder over time. As your routines get more difficult, it'll make sense to plan some recovery to let your body heal from the increasing damage and stress. The main reason why the vast majority of these challenges don't accommodate for rest days is because the body no longer needs to recover from something which has gotten used to. After 2 or 3 weeks doing the same 100 push-ups every day, your body is going to be like, is that all you got? Seriously? I became too efficient at it. So in this video, I'm going to share with you an example on how a 100 push-ups for 100 days challenge could be done in a way that is conducive to getting bigger and stronger. Alright, the first thing we need to do is to establish the goal of this 14-week challenge. We're not trying to get the highest rep count to pass some sort of test like the military or police or something like that. So we're not training to improve our muscular endurance through super high repetitions. That's not what we're here for. We're here to gain muscle mass. To get those gains! Simply put, we're gonna be growing the main muscle movers in a push-up: the chest, anterior shoulders, and triceps. The most effective way to achieve this muscle growth is through a training style that draws from traditional hypertrophy principles. This means that you would want to get close to failure in every set with high to moderate intensities. And in order to comply with the theme of the challenge, I'm not gonna surpass the 100 rep mark in a workout, so that I have to rely almost entirely on intensity as the key variable for me to make this push-up routine progressively harder over time. And remember, I'm not saying that this is the best way or the only way to do this challenge, but at least it is a way to do it. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm all about solutions, and I just don't want beginners to get paralyzed when it's time to make decisions. If you've been doing resistance training properly for a while and you are a more experienced lifter, you'll know when it's the right time for you to step it up a notch. But as a beginner with no sense of intuition for these kind of things, I would recommend the implementation of a repeatable and straightforward system that brings up the intensity automatically on the same day every single week. From Monday to Thursday, you're going to be doing the same workout. Your job for those 4 days is to get better at the completion of the 100 push-ups at a qualitative level. Your intent is to become a master of that workout by Thursday. Practice and improve every little detail during a push-up until you get 100% out of every single repetition, because your form has become pristine. In order for you to get the absolute most of every single repetition, I will encourage you to check out this tutorial video where I break down everything you need to know in regards to technique during a regular push-up. When you do them right, you won't be able to do as many, which is exactly what you should want from a muscle building perspective. Then on the 5th day of the week, that is on Friday, you're going to complete a new and harder version of the same workout. Now the goal is to implement a quantifiable increase in difficulty. I'm talking about hard numbers on paper, so that you are, objectively speaking, doing a more uncomfortable and challenging version of the 100 push-up workout. Then rest on Saturday and Sunday, and then start the next week where you left off. From Monday to Thursday, you're going to become better and better at the version B of the workout, so that when Friday rolls around, bam! You introduce a new jump in difficulty, and the cycle goes on. I actually think that a 2-day rest would be beneficial for 3 reasons. 1. Because you give an opportunity to your tendons and ligaments to take a break. Keep in mind that you're going to be repeating the same movement pattern over and over, so look at weekends as an insurance policy against overuse injury. 2. Once you follow a program based on progressively harder and heavier exercises, you'll begin to welcome rest days. Remember that your muscles don't grow when you work out. You actually break them down in the gym, and thus they get weaker during training. It's primarily from your sleep and your food that your muscles get bigger in the rebuilding process while you rest. Moreover, I'm going to assume that the 100 push-up challenge is not the only thing you do for your training, so that you are likely to accumulate fatigue from somewhere else. And 3, give yourself a break. 3 weeks into a challenge, I don't want you to go, "F duck eggs, I'm sick of this." That'd be a shame. If you start something, push it through till the end. Don't be one of them quitters leaving unfinished business. So it's the first week, and you don't want to make things extremely hard on you. Structure the 100 push-ups in a way that is not completely overwhelming when you first start the challenge. Remember that you're going to have multiple opportunities over the next 14 weeks to make things more difficult. In this hypothetical projection into the future as the weeks go by, I gradually increase the intensity to the point where I'm using a push-up progression that I can barely do 7 repetitions with. And now you're watching a video of what last week could look like. Technically still performing the same exercise, but if you pay close attention, you might notice that somewhere along the way I elevated my feet. That way I'm using a higher percentage of my body weight as resistance to push off the floor. At some point I also added the parallel bars to increase the range of motion at the lower part of the push-up. That way I'm making sure that my body has to travel a longer distance. Now I get to sink my chest even further down as there is no floor to stop me. This results in more micro tears in the eccentric part of the repetition as I lower myself down, which is great for hypertrophy. And if all this wasn't enough, I have also introduced a pause at the bottom of every push-up to eliminate the muscle stretch reflex that happens when the movement transitions from the eccentric to the concentric phase of the lift. If this bounce is to be removed and no longer helps me, now it becomes more difficult to get myself out of the bottom. And most importantly, after some time I put on a weighted vest to add resistance to the movement, basically approaching a body weight movement like you would an exercise with external weights in the gym. Once I'm done with 7 sets of 7 repetitions for a total of 49 push-ups, then I proceed to do high rep sets without the vest. That way I make sure that I'm working with other rep ranges while I prevent the workout from going on too long. You can do the math if you want, but if I have to rest 3 to 4 minutes in between the first 7 sets, then it takes me about 30 to 35 minutes to get only half the work done. In the first part of the workout, I focus more on mechanical tension and adding weight over time, whereas the second part of the routine is more about metabolic discomfort because I'm getting close to muscular failure every single time. So look at the workout I did in week 1 and the one that I completed in week 14. Yes, on paper I did 100 push-ups on both days, but if you look at these routines more closely, you'll soon realize that these two are very different. The need for progressive overload calls for the introduction of elements that have to make push-ups harder over time, thus constantly forcing my body to adapt as weeks go by. This is the takeaway from this video. First, 30-day challenges are delusional for muscle building purposes. This isn't long enough for anybody to build any noticeable amount of muscle. Quite frankly, I don't even think that 100 days is a long period either in the big scheme of things, but hey, At least you'll be working with a more realistic time frame. And second, if the workout does not evolve into something completely different by the end of the challenge, you'll be getting little to no results, and lots of frustration for sure. I showed you some methods to increase intensity, but work with whatever is available to you. Make it hard and make it uncomfortable, so you can finally build some muscle mass with a fitness challenge. Check out these two videos, I think you're gonna like them. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to get notified every time a new video goes live. Stay fit, stay strong.
Duck eggs